Hello everyone, it's Ruby here, and today we're reacting to the next video from Dogpack44. It's called Mr. Beast's Secret CEO. So I don't know what this is about, but we're going to react to it, and we're going to discuss it as we go along. Let's go.
Okay, so this video is going to focus around one instance of essay. I wanted to put all the essay allegations into one video, part 3, final video until Jimmy responds at least. I sort of overestimated how easy that would be as far as like getting everything approved with victims and lawyers, and like also traditional media is involved. They've been DMing me, New York Times, Time Magazine, also like documentary people. I don't know, you're like, hey, I've worked with Netflix and Hulu and Apple TV and Peacock, are you interested? And I'm like, I don't know, but I think people should go to those more legitimate sources to get their stories out. So I've been referring people to other people because traditional has, more resources than I do and better legal protections than I do for sure. I do have sort of that bigger project, the original part 3, and I have a lot of other interviews and other allegations that I'm working on putting together, so I have something for when Mr. Beast responds. If his response is bad, then I can sort of point out, hey, he lied here and he deflected and straw man argument or whatever, as well as like dropping new allegations and doing it in an opportune way so that they get the most eyeballs. But yeah, I just wanted to say this is just around sort of one allegation. Also, everything in this video is allegedly. This video is not monetized. It's for educational purposes only. This is matters of public interest. I'll put a full disclaimer on the screen.
This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please do not contact people mentioned in this video. This video is meant to report on issues of public concern about public figures who are responsible for hundreds of millions of dollars and provide opinions and commentary. I do not condone any forms of hate or harassment.
Yeah, here's the video. Okay, today I'm going to be covering Mr. Beast's secret CEO, James Warren, and his involvement in essay and essay cover-ups, like the one including his best friend, LaKoya Hill, who also happens to be Mr. Beast's secret chief operating officer, or was. And then I want to touch on the man himself, Jimmy Donaldson. Mr. Beast has very publicly and transparently been engaging in a massive cover-up, deleting a lot of evidence, and I think a lot of this cover-up is going sort of completely under the radar. We're not even aware of what's being swept under the rug, and they're getting away with hiding and deleting evidence. After I called out James Warren by name in my last video, his Instagram and Facebook got taken down, and his LinkedIn got taken down. So quick profile on James Warren. He's Jimmy's cousin and secret CEO, and I say secret because they're not very open about that fact. Like he doesn't post about it on social media. It wasn't ever attached to his LinkedIn. He's never featured or really referenced anywhere. I heard that he's very aggressive. I've heard him referred to as a psychopath who screams at people and hits his girlfriends. There's allegedly domestic violence charges that were filed against him. And I say allegedly because it turns out there's a lot of people in North Carolina named James Warren who assault their girlfriends, I guess. So I'm still having people look into these cases, specifically that surprise witness on YouTube. She's been super helpful in like behind the scenes, just submitting freedom of information requests and just helping me out a lot in general. She's super nice, super smart. She'll be posting a lot of updates on her channel, as she has been about the Mr. Beast situation.
Mr. Beast video caused a military operation.
James Warren, also allegedly an ex-drug addict. I've heard that he offered cocaine and hookers to editors to stay late. And then the really big thing is that there was some incident between him and a female colleague that resulted in the female colleague leaving the company and receiving 3 years in severance pay. I'm still actively looking into this incident, so if you have information, let me know. But I've heard from multiple credible sources that this is true and this did happen. Also, I should quickly clarify that a lot of this investigation is allegedly. That's sort of the nature of these instances.
Every outside of court documents is allegedly. All parties are assumed innocent until proven guilty.
I have a lot of testimony, corroborating testimony. But the reason I'm publishing this is that hopefully it brings more information to light. Like after, the Jake Weddle interview got posted, which was all mostly testimony. People came out corroborating his story, and then ultimately Jimmy ended up apologizing and offering him $190,000, which to me I think is most likely an admission of guilt. You know, you don't apologize for things that you didn't do. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. But what's not allegedly is that James Warren was the former COO of acquisitions of a real estate investment firm called Greenstone Ventures LLC, which is one of the businesses listed in this indictment of his former business partner, Joshua Hutchins, who was sentenced to 10 years in prison for
real estate
running
Ponzi
a real estate Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi schemes are great up until they just go bust.
So before working at Mr. Beast, James Warren was involved in a literal fraud. In fact, he's actually mentioned in the court transcripts of this case. This is the sentence hearing for Joshua Hutchins. I'm going to highlight testimony from just one of these victims, a retirement age woman named Sylvia. She testifies, "I came to know Mr. Hutchins through a very reputable and successful real estate attorney who highly recommended Mr. Hutchins and who eventually left his agency to become the chief operating officer of Mr. Hutchins' investment firm." The chief operating officer of Mr. Hutchins' investment firm. She explains that the reason she trusted Mr. Hutchins was through the strong recommendation and endorsement from that very reputable and successful real estate agent. He represented Mr. Hutchins as highly competent and capable. He presented a successful track record and how Mr. Hutchins had delivered for other investments. On the next page, page 16, she testifies, "My trust was and has been severely violated." Track record and how Mr. Hutchins had delivered.
As we have come to know, those were all fraud, mostly fraudulent. I won't say all, mostly. In my case, it was 100% fraud from misrepresented. Promissory notes I have. Okay.
For other investments. On the next page, page 16, she testifies, "My trust was and has been severely violated. This is the equivalent of financial. Many of us entrusted Mr. Hutchins, who we've come to know to be fraudulent. Just $1.3+ million of worthless paper signed by him fraudulently misrepresented in the courts." So Hutchins was convicted for soliciting investment monies by telling victims that their money would be put to work on a specific property. In fact, Hutchins did not put all the investor funds to work on the property on which the investor was solicited to invest, and instead regularly used investor funds on other properties or personal expenses. Now, what kind of personal expenses? Well, apparently he bought an AR-15 and hundreds of rounds of ammunition. His wife had a domestic violence order of protection against him. He's accused of calling his wife a lying rat and sending menacing photos of himself in tactical gear in the woods to her friends and family. Again, according to Sylvia's testimony, James Warren represented Mr. Hutchins as highly competent and capable. She continues on page 17. "James Warren, the then realtor who recommended me to Hutchins, also encouraged us to work with Mr. Hutchins on trying to make it work. And we did until it became very evident as to his apparent intent of complete fraud." So James appearing to sort of try to mediate this exchange, saying, hey, give him a chance. Don't pursue him. Don't sue him. Just make it work, right? The real losses due to fraud are evident. Financially, he's devastated my retirement. I can only hope and thank the good Lord that I have a brain to be able to function and try to earn back as much as possible. The impact, over $1.3 million in real losses. These are not, I got a piece of property, it was all fraud. She goes on to describe her financial troubles through the years, supporting her mother who had Alzheimer's disease, how in the crash of 2008 she lost her job and for 2 years was unemployed. In
2008 was
2014,
bad
she
in
had a
general
severe
though for
cancer
everyone.
diagnosis, was out of work for over a year. She continues, "In spite of all that, I've lived very frugally and tried to make things work. I've made him know of all my history and I told him I could not take the risk. He and James Warren, the then realtor, stated, 'Oh, real estate.'" She goes on to describe how they presented it as a safe investment opportunity for her, and then James Warren's business partner defrauded her of $1.3 million. Now, can I claim definitively that James Warren was aware of the fraud that was taking place and willingly complicit in helping Mr. Hutchins defraud old ladies? No. But from what I've heard of James Warren's character, how he's hit ex-girlfriends, not let them leave the house, beat his dog, defrauded people in his own ways, creative juice is an interesting one that could be looked into. which was done with Mr. Beast, as well as another scheme that we'll get into that he conducted with LaQuia Hill. I personally believe that when he was working with Mr. Hutchins, he was in similar company. I think the COO of acquisitions would know and be sort of responsible for properties not being properly acquired through the court system. But again, that's
North
my
Carolina,
opinion. That's all
South
allegedly.
Carolina, and Virginia.
Now, on to his alleged best friend, LaQuia Hill. They both went to UNC Chapel Hill together, and they both, after graduating, got into real estate. But by 2017, LaQuia Hill was running an adult entertainment event business in San Francisco called LaQuia Hill Entertainment. Then in 2019, he was hired to Mr. Beast as a producer.
Our party evolved into this place where, you know, you have the drag queens, the muscle daddies, the bears, the twinks, the like posh boys.
Now, I'm all for personal freedoms. I believe adults should be able to do whatever they want. However, I question what qualified the sort of go-go dance drag daddy of San Francisco for a job producing YouTube content for children. You know, it'd also be weird if Mr. Beast hired Johnny Sins as the janitor, I guess. That's not the real issue, though. The issue is that in late 2021, he was allegedly fired for sexually assaulting his assistant. Now, I put fired in quotation marks because he was actually quietly moved to the dubbing company, which was Unilingo at the time. Here is proof that he used the LaQuia at unilingo.tv email, links back to him, links to these photos, one of which was the profile picture for his YouTube channel, which also after my first video, his YouTube channel mysteriously got deleted. And at some point, his Twitter also got deleted. I don't know if that's when he sexually assaulted his assistant. I don't know if that's after my first video got posted. Either way, Booty Call Wednesdays got canceled. He was actually brought back to Mr. Beast in 2023 after sexually assaulting his assistant prior, and promoted to Chief Financial Officer, which is how I personally was introduced to him. Here's some evidence from the internal Slack channel at Mr. Beast showing LaQuia Hill acting in some COO capacity, saying there's news reporters outside, do not engage with them. This was shortly after the Time magazine article came out. So here I have a document showing testimony from former Mr. Beast employees talking about LaQuia Hill. When I say verified former Mr. Beast employee, I had them send some form of proof. I know who some of these people are. They just want to remain anonymous, but you know, I'm willing to share this with like.
Did you hear or did you see or hear of any SM at the company? Yes, LaQuia Hill, the current COO in 2021, he had an assistant named Blank. I heard LaQuia act very inappropriate with Jane Doe, booking hotel rooms with only one bed, walking around in his underwear, having Jane come to his house and showing him his sex toy collection. Just in general, LaQuia made Jane uncomfortable. Jane Doe started complaining to higher-ups, and a report got written. LaQuia was put on paid leave for like a month. Then Mr. Beast moved him into the dubbing company, and he was hired back to Mr. Beast in 2023 and was promoted to COO, even though Jimmy, James, and Sue 100% know his history. Also, I heard that when Jane was let go, when John was let go, he was given $30,000 in severance. I could get you John's number. I don't know if he'd talk. Okay. John Doe. Okay.
Independent third party, if it needs to happen. Personally, I don't think Mr. Beast is going to deny sort of this LaQuia Hill story that I'm going to show you. But here's the first testimony, and I'll say this person is especially credible in my opinion. I asked them, did you see or hear of any sexual misconduct at the company? They say yes. LaQuia Hill, the current COO. In 2021, he had an assistant named victim's name. I heard LaQuia acted very inappropriately with victim, booking hotel rooms with only one bed, walking around in his underwear, having victim come to his house and showing him his sex toy collection. Just in general, LaQuia made victim uncomfortable. Victim started complaining to higher-ups, and a report got written. LaQuia was put on paid leave for like a month. Then Mr. Beast moved him to the dubbing company, and he was hired back in 2023 and was promoted to COO, even though Jimmy, James, and Sue 100% know his history. Also, I heard that when Victim was let go, he was given $30,000 in severance. I could get you Victim's number. I don't know if he'd talk. I respond, yeah, that'd be great. Also, is there proof he moved to the dubbing company? I could look. It was the original dubbing company called Unilingo. Mr. Beast practically forced them to hire LaQuoya, and then they poached Unilingo's employees and copied their whole business and created Creator Global. Verified employee number 2. Asked them the same question, have you heard of any sexual misconduct at the company? They say yes. I don't know how to spell their name, but LaQuoya, something like that. He was brought in last year after having not worked there for a year or so at a very high level. I respond, LaQuoya Hill. They say the reason he had been asked to leave previously is that he had sexually harassed someone that still worked at the company when he was brought back. Yes, LaQuoya Hill. But they brought him back knowing he had sexually harassed an employee previously.
A lot of this is so avoidable. I don't understand how it even happened.
Verified employee number 3.
I mean, unless, I guess, because Mr. Beast just does not care.
Wondering if there's anything you could corroborate. Have you heard of anything about LaQuoya Hill? They respond, the old gay guy who likes to bang 18-year-old straight employees. Yeah, I've heard of him. Anything non-consensual to your knowledge? I heard he got in trouble for hooking up with his 18-year-old straight assistant, but the company kept it quiet from what I heard. He's a producer and worked in the adult entertainment before Mr. Beast. Yeah, LaQuoya Hill Entertainment. I heard he was fired for sexual harassment, then brought back a year later. That's what I heard too. Employee number 4. Do you know who LaQuoya Hill is? Yes. And you're aware of the case that has been covered up for some time. Explain. Essayed multiple people, apparently roofied multiple people as well. Verified
roofied?
I'll also say this person is especially credible, but they worked there a while ago, like 2020, 2021, around then. Okay, few things. LaQuoya sexually assaulted his assistant who was straight and LaQuoya was gay. You probably already know that. But James is best friends with him, so holy shit was that surprising that they kept him around way longer than they should have. There were reports of him making the assistant sleep in the same room / bed with him on trips, touching him inappropriately, and dangling his job in front of him. Employee number 6, did you hear anything about LaQuoya Hill? I heard that incident happened. I heard they let him go, and I heard they brought him back and just put him in a different department. And I think, I don't know, but I think he's working there again. Now recently, Mr. Beast has let LaQuoya Hill go. They had this sort of leaked email where they say,
this is where it came. This is what he was talking about.
The fact that LaQuoya Hill is no longer working there. Now, I have been open with Mr. Beast about the fact that I was going to cover LaQuoya Hill. This is a single frame in my first video where I reference LaQuoya. He's also in my Twitter header. And I've also just told people who work at Mr. Beast that they have to let LaQuoya Hill go. So they did what I wanted and let him go, right? Well, just on a whim, I decided to look into the Creator Global LinkedIn, and it had gone private to where everyone just shows up as a LinkedIn member, right? But I saw this.
President at the
LinkedIn
Creator
member,
Global.
President at Creator Global. I thought, you know what, that's a little suspicious. So I reached out to one of my connections close to Mr. Beast, and I said, hey, can you look into this account for me? Because sometimes if you have connections, you can see private LinkedIn accounts.
Who it is,
and this is what they saw. LaQuoya Hill, listed as the current president at Creator Global. No work history between graduating UNC in May 2001 and becoming the president at Creator Global in 2024. Dude, this is like the game where you gotta like keep track of the pets and races as Mr. Beast just moves them between companies.
They just
Wait, why did it skip that? One second. It skipped ahead, right?
Creator Global. No work history between graduating UNC
I think I thought it was
and becoming the president
sponsor.
of Creator Global in 2024.
My bad.
Dude, this is like the 3-cup game where you gotta like keep track of the pets and races.
It's just censored. Okay, I thought it skipped.
Kept moving them around. You know, like
I
those
didn't
killer
see.
whales at SeaWorld, after it kills a trainer, they'll then move it up to Seattle. They don't give them their background.
Which I heard, Mr. Beast or James Warren forced Unilingo to hire LaQuoya as sort of part of their partnership without, sending them the report on his alleged sexual misconduct at the company. I also have a voice memo from James Warren showing that they told Unilingo to process a $28,000 bonus for LaQuoya, which there's definitely something suspicious going on with that.
Hey buddy, it's James. Sorry to be bothering you. I've done my absolute best not to bother you. But LaQuoya had presented a bunch of stuff to me and Jimmy a little bit ago. All really great stuff. But he had asked me and Jimmy personally, he's like, hey, can I have a $28,000 bonus for work I did in the past? And I'm like, yeah, of course, man. And the reason for that is I had brought him up to my level, and I don't take bonuses. So for like 2 years, he didn't get any bonuses when our guys were getting like crazy percentage bonuses. I need a favor. Sue cannot process this bonus through Beast. I need a solid. Can you please process a 28K bonus for LaKoya? Let me know. Bye.
And then they used LaKoya to try to steal Unilingo's business, poach their employees, take their clients, and then Mr. Beast launched Creator Global, where LaKoya Hill is currently listed as the president. So that's LaKoya Hill. And that's just what I can put on the record. I will say that if Mr. Beast tries to deny this, more evidence will be brought to light, and more people will definitely come out defending me, saying, hey, this is true, these allegations are true. This is all true, allegedly, in my opinion, for legal reasons. Okay, now let's move on to the man himself, Jimmy Donaldson. First, I'll show this testimony from another former Mr. Beast employee, just to show sort of the work culture, especially from a female's perspective. She says, on my very first day, I was told to avoid being alone in a room with certain people in positions of power. At least once a week, I was subjugated to inappropriate questions and conversations. Once, a male coworker asked me what I would do if Jimmy assaulted or harassed
What?
me. On another occasion, this same coworker said it wasn't fair that women could just decide a past sexual encounter wasn't consensual. Many
Ew.
of the men I worked with would make assault and pet jokes on a daily basis. They would scream and hit walls when they got upset. The minute any woman leaves a room, they would talk about if/how they would fuck her. I've heard men comment on female contestants' bodies many times. Not everyone behaves this way, but no one openly speaks out against it in fear of losing their job. If you complain about any of this, you'll be shamed for being too sensitive or just ignored. You can't take anything to HR either because Jimmy's mom runs it. It's pretty common for people to essentially get paid to leave and stay quiet if they make enough noise about something. There is no employee handbook, by the way. If you ask for one or what the company's policies are, they just tell you to ask them and they'll let you know if anything is against the rules. But again, there's nothing in writing, which is true.
What
the
the
leaked
fuck?
document is just the production manual, not given to all employees. So here's another testimony. This person will go on the record. This is Jess, who accused Ava Chris Tyson of sexual assault. I think her case has been sort of mostly ignored because she wasn't a minor when it happened. But she was a Mr. Beast employee, and you can see in her evidence, in her communications with the company, the clear signs of a cover-up. You can see them like threatening her with legal action and emails and saying like, oh, we're going to have a law firm investigate this. Well, they had one firm do an internal investigation, McGuire Woods LLP, the same law firm that sent me my first cease and desist. But then they hired, I guess, Harvey Weinstein's legal team, allegedly, to re-review everything. So I guess they weren't happy with the results of the first internal investigation. Also, yeah, this new law firm, Quinn Emanuel, Mr. Beast has worked with them previously, allegedly, to internally investigate LaKoya Hill's sexual misconduct. So why don't you make that report public, Jimmy? Anyway, here's Jess's testimony. I only hung out with Jimmy a handful of times, but he definitely was a little more reserved around me because I wasn't a part of his inner circle, or the boys club as it's called. I did hear Jimmy straight up say that the guy making a documentary on him right now has footage of him saying stuff that would absolutely get him canceled. It's just a well-known thing the boys club is misogynistic and looks down on women in the company despite what they might say publicly. Behind closed doors, the women in the company know that the culture is a problem.
I mean, this goes back to the
Multiple
document,
stories
though.
of Jimmy being directly informed of SA happening at the company and proactively working to keep it quiet. So Jess directly implicating Jimmy in the SA cover-ups. LaKoya with an 18-year-old straight assistant. So she's one of the people corroborating that story. Ava told Jimmy about a time she was essayed by another talent member on a private jet, and talent members/employees making advances towards contestants was a regular occurrence. The reason all of this was able to happen for so long is because Jimmy is deeply misogynistic and only respects what he considers to be traditional women. He pushed those values into the company when he created it, and it resulted in several SA allegations we know about, and probably a lot more we don't know yet.
I mean, even if you said, look, how do we know this is a testimonial, thing? You can read the document that Mr. Beast wrote himself that was targeted for the production, and I think I'm actually going to pull that up again because it does mention some of this type of culture, so it's not really surprising. I mean, in the light of this,
fire them, don't just move them around. Or I'm going to start dropping nukes. Anyway, let's I'm going to move Maddie Spadell away from all this. I just want to touch on this briefly. So Maddie Spadell, who's Mr. Beast's very public ex-girlfriend of 2.5 years, posted this on her Instagram story. She doesn't mention Jimmy by name. It's sort of vague. I think probably either because she's under an NDA.
I'm curious. I spent years being quiet, never acknowledging that time in my life, just quietly cheering on those who I saw mistreated. I don't want drama. I don't want anything. I just want to speak up for my 19-year-old self. 19 to 21 are formative years, and as a young woman, it impacted the way I saw myself, the way I interpreted my future, and how I trusted men. There was no user manual. There was no instructions on how to deal with gaining following quickly. No cheat sheet on dating someone famous. I did the best I could, but I was not okay. I'm sure he's going to read this again, but I just want to read it for myself. Months of therapy, so many journal entries, long talks with my mom. Why do I feel like it was all for nothing? I believe I should be used as a cautionary tale. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. How he treats other women will ultimately be how he treats you. You are smart, beautiful, and capable of a career life and relationship you are proud of. I do not aim to take anyone down, just simply and explicitly tell you that there are scary people out there. People will hurt you, use you, spit you out, and then tell you it's your fault. It's all our jobs to protect our friends, our moms, our wives, our sisters, our daughters, ourselves from people like that. If you see something not cool, speak up.
Or maybe she's just testing the waters to see how people respond before sharing more information. But also, it's like not that vague if you have reading comprehension and can read context clues. She says she spent years being quiet, never acknowledging that time in her life. 19 to 21 are formative years. It impacted how she saw herself and how she trusted men. Months of therapy. She says how he treats other women will ultimately be how he treats you. So how does Jimmy treat other women?
I don't really get along with women. I don't really get along with women. I don't really get along with women.
Well, women are stupid because they're inferior to men.
That when she and a group of contestants who were menstruating during the event had asked the production staff about getting their underwear more quickly, she had been told that it was not a medical emergency.
You'll never actually respect a woman, but just act like you respect them.
My God. Mr. Beast withheld my birth control. I have ovarian cysts. You can't just stop taking birth control.
I don't really get along with women.
Also in this podcast, Jimmy goes on to talk about his relationship with his current girlfriend Tia in very weird ways, in my opinion.
For us now, like an idea of a date is just to like take an IQ test and then study and see if we can get a higher. An idea of a date is just to like take an IQ test. And then she was like, I'm an author. And I was like, fuck yeah, good. She has a hobby. And then I just DM'd her. I was like, oh, so your book, can I read it? She sent it over, read the whole book, and it was just like acting like it was the greatest book ever. I don't really get along with women.
It's all of our jobs to protect our friends, our moms, our wives, our sisters, our daughters, ourselves from people like that. That's a pretty clear statement, if you ask me. Now, I almost feel like there's been a campaign against Maddie Spidell to discredit her before she's even shared any information. A lot of like clout chaser and gold digger allegations. I'll say this is also from that Rolling Stone article. They referenced the breakup. The reporter says, Maddie Spidell, who's appeared in a handful of videos, those in Mr. Beast's inner circle told me that Spidell had been a positive influence, forcing Donaldson to prioritize work-life balance more. Donaldson did not want to comment on the record about the breakup, citing Spidell's privacy, yet Chris Tyson, says Donaldson's singular focus on work was a major contributing factor. I think that's what he's going to be looking for next. Somebody who can match his obsession with business and money and all that kind of stuff. So not a bad word to be said about Maddie Spidell from Jimmy or the people in his inner circle, which is pretty unusual of an ex-girlfriend. I'll show some of the brain dead media coverage headed by Cuckstar and his news organization Drama Alert. So here's just one of his many posts about Maddie. Thread of every time Mr. Beast's ex-girlfriend allegedly shaded him, downplaying the clout-chasing claims against her. So let's see this extensive thread. One post of a TikTok where she says she was traumatized at 19. Why do you think that's about Jimmy, Keemstar? Allegedly complaining about Mr. Beast fans. This is her most popular TikTok period with over 6.5 million views and was posted last year. And then Drama Alert goes on to give one more example. And that's the end of the thread. So see her most popular TikTok seems to be alluding to her relationship with Mr. Beast. And then she has hundreds of more TikToks where she never even tried to recreate the success of that first TikTok, right? Like if I'm her social media manager, I'm telling her, hey, post about Jimmy Moore. And she obviously knows that if she did that, she would get more views, and yet she doesn't do it. Hundreds of TikToks, about 30 of them are about Taylor Swift, maybe 3 are about her ex-boyfriend of 2.5 years, which for a Swiftie, it's extremely low to post only 3 times about your ex-boyfriend who's now incredibly famous.
Yeah.
So if she was clout chasing, she's doing a horrible job at it. Now, Drama Alert, on the other hand, has posted more times in the past month about Maddie Spadell than Maddie Spadell has ever posted about Mr. Beast. So I just wanted to address that because I think Mr. Beast knows Maddie has nukes against him, and he's trying to discredit her. So let's look at this leaked email. This is from Mr. Beast. It says, yesterday, Dawson saved 100 billion. Whoa, guys, whoa. Guys, I don't know how that got there. That was the wrong email. I don't know how that got there. Yeah, so I've actually heard from pretty credible people that this email was not leaked. So, why lie about it? Devious or deceptive tendencies. Here he is quoted in that Rolling Stone article saying, I'm great at lying. But I wanted to focus in on this part where they say, therefore, along with Jeff Hausenbold,
Yeah, I
our new
remember
president
this
and COO,
email.
we will be hiring a new chief
That
human
was
resource
leaked.
officer, chief financial officer, interesting, and general counsel, along with other roles to add capacity and competencies to foster a better internal culture as we continue to grow. So what's interesting about this is that the only person named in an initiative to foster a better internal culture is Jeff Hausenbold. But what's ironic about this is that Jeff Hausenbold has been in the news previously for the internal culture that he helped create as managing partner at the SoftBank Vision Fund. Here's New York Post. Nasty executives shaped macho culture at SoftBank Vision Fund. And here's Bloomberg Business Week. SoftBank Vision Fund employees depict a culture of recklessness. It has also been described as an environment of sycophancy and harassment. So seemingly all the problems that people have with Mr. Beast's internal culture. But this Bloomberg article also goes to call Jeff out by name. Jeff Hausenbold collects cars, including a blue Ferrari, and claims to own a 20,000-bottle wine cellar, although he doesn't drink himself. Acquaintances describe him as smart and arrogant and almost entirely lacking in self-awareness. He's also gotten away with some questionable behavior. In a discussion about whether to invest in the stationary bike startup Peloton in 2017, according to 2 people who were in the meeting, Hausenbold opined that its exercise equipment appealed in part to men who masturbated to its workout videos.
Dude, I want to jerk off!
What?
Jerk off! Look at this!
SoftBank denied the claims, but it's an oddly specific thing for 2 people to make up a story about masturbating to Peloton workout videos. So yeah, maybe I don't see the vision with hiring this guy as the new president. Also, this is just what I can share right now. I do have more information that I'm trying to get out. Trying to get permission from the victims and everything. Also trying to save some things for when Mr. Beast responds. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so that was a lot. But we're gonna talk, and then I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do in terms of the next steps involving all of this. So, okay, that was a lot of information. And the gist of it is that Jimmy's whole company is horrible. If I'm Jimmy, and I know that my company is supposed to be very reputable, has a lot of eyes on me, and potentially, those NDAs, while they're good, they're not indestructible, and it doesn't stop people from really talking about something that might be happening illegal. And I know that I just fired a guy who committed sexual harassment, which in some cases, to a degree, is a crime. I think the best idea would be to not rehire him or move him to another company or give him a $28,000 bonus. I'm not sure how this even happens if I'm Jimmy, the good guy. I don't know how a good guy like Jimmy Donaldson does this and keeps on doing it and keeps on doing it. And if we look at the company close enough, then we'll see a lot of things. Now, the big question, right? Let's say I'm Jimmy and I don't know that this is happening within my company, right? Let's say I just didn't know I hired an SO. I didn't know that this person was committing or accused of committing fraud. I didn't know that this CEO was, bad and had harassment cases, and I didn't know that this person and this person and this person and this person, I didn't know my friend, did all this stuff. Like, let's say that's what Jimmy says, right? I didn't know that this was happening, okay? The question then becomes, how much responsibility does the face of the company, whether they're owner or not, have to ensuring that the company is filled with good people running background checks to ensure this? And how much responsibility do I have to make it my job to know who is running my company? I would say that you have at least 90% responsibility, because at the end of the day, it is your business, it is your reputation. Nobody cares about these other people. It is you they care about, okay? Regardless of the allegations and the accusations, okay? You, as the face of the company, as the public owner of the company, need to be aware of what the fuck is going on with your company, okay? That would be like saying, like, Jeff Bezos didn't know he had blah 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 blah. Like if you're Jeff Bezos, if you're Bill Gates, if you're Elon Musk, if you're freaking Ralph Lauren, I don't know. If you're the owner, the CEO, the front-facing person for the company, it is your responsibility to understand who you are hiring. At the very least, do a background check. And from what I know, no one gets a background check, which is absurd that nobody in the company gets a background check. Not your friend, not your new hire, not your rehire. Nobody gets a background check at all, apparently. Why? I don't know why. I don't know why a company the size of Mr. Beast, which is basically a corporation at this point, would not have any background checks. Now, I'm very skeptical about these law firms that were allegedly hired to research and look into the Chris Tyson situation, as well as other Mr. Beast employees. And I have a feeling that the conclusion is not going to be good. And if it isn't not good, I believe that it could be that the people in charge of investigating are not 100% unbiased towards Mr. Beast. I think at this point, if I'm the person investigating all this and I'm finding all this information, I'm saying, Mr. Beast, Jimmy, Mr. Donaldson, you need to shut this company down. Like, get rid of everybody. Like, there is no hope. There's nothing here. Even if Mr. Beast is not involved, he has so many bad apples and bad tomatoes, or rotten tomatoes, I should say, that it's bad. It is bad. It is shut down the company bad. I'm like, shut down the company, issue an apology, and shut the fuck up. If I'm Mr. Beast's legal team, I mean, so far, Jimmy has not said a thing about any of this. He's only issued cease and desist and apparently hired a second legal team after hiring the first legal team to investigate the whole Ava Chris Tyson situation. I believe it's because Mr. Beast originally believed that it would only be about Ava Chris Tyson and didn't think that maybe the other bad apples in his company would also be investigated. It's actually interesting going back on the wording that Mr. Beast said. Let's see if we can see that Twitter apology thing. Statement on Chris Tyson. Okay, so here it is. Mr. Beast issues statement on Ava Chris Tyson's firing after allegations. So if we scroll down, we see, over the last few days, I've become aware of the serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I have been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigations to ensure I have all the facts. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. I will allow the independent investigators the necessary time to conduct a comprehensive investigation and will take any further actions based on their findings. And then Ava said, I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. I want to add, I never groomed anyone. The person who gets brought up in these accusations, the Labra GS, has vocally supported that they are false. Having said that, I humbly apologize to anyone I have hurt with my unacceptable social media posts, past actions, and to those who may feel betrayed by how I used to act online. To lump these two factors together to create a narrative that my behavior extended beyond bad edgy jokes is disgusting and did not happen. In past years, I have learned that my old humor is not acceptable. I cannot change who I was, but I can continue to work on myself. I don't want these accusations to impact the hundreds of people working at Mr. Beast, which is why I have stepped away. This is all interesting timing. I mean, it's crazy because all of this technically started because Ava Chris Tyson allegations came out publicly. And this was really because of the coming out of Ava Chris Tyson. So the timeline is basically Ava Chris Tyson comes out as trans. Ava Chris Tyson then gets accused of the allegations found on their account. Then things start pivoting and pivot hard to Mr. Beast and his whole company. And now we're at a very, very serious allegations, very, very serious accusations. And we have Mr. Beast sending cease and desist letters to everyone involved with these leakages and everything. And now we are sitting on the crux of the downfall of Mr. Beast Incorporated. This is very crazy. I don't know how to compose my thoughts, and this isn't even touching on the fact that Mr. Beast hid SA. I think what's gonna happen now, because I don't know what to even say, is I'm gonna react to Adam because I know he just did a coverage. I'm gonna watch that, give my opinions on that, and see if we can have like a conversation revolving around this, because I do have thoughts, but I don't want this to go any longer than it already is. and I want to see what other people have to say before I say anything further, because I want to collectively kind of have this back and forth around this subject. And now we know that we're getting even more videos from Dogpack about these topics. So this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. This is not the end. You would think this would be the end, but it gets worse, and it's only going to get worse. And apparently Dogpack has nukes to drop. So, yeah, I don't think Mr. Beast is recovering from these at all. If you would like to see my previous coverage on this video, I did do basically a recap, sort of a summary of my opinions that you can see right here. Instead of seeing the 3-hour long coverage, you can see this video, and it basically says my thoughts on the current situation from the first 2 videos of the Dogpack video, and also the Rosanna interview, and also the document that was leaked. All of that is here, so definitely go watch that. And I will be also reacting to Adam's latest video on the 3rd Dogpack video. I'm sure he has a lot to say on that regard. So there's a lot here. There's a lot. So just follow along and comment down below your thoughts as well. And I'll see you next time. Bye.